a love that divided us. The first time Daniel kissed her, I felt it too. That was the curse of my life. My name is Evelyn, and I have lived every breath, every heartbeat, every private moment with my twin sister Claire, because we were born conjoined. We share the same hips, the same legs, the same nights beneath a single blanket. We've learned how to share silence, space, and secrets. But love was always the one thing we swore we wouldn't risk. Until that night. The party. The room was warm with cheap wine and soft music, the kind of party where everyone tried a little too hard to look effortless. Claire had convinced me to come. She always convinced me. She thrived in crowds, in the chaos of conversation, while I preferred the quiet safety of our apartment. "Come on," she whispered, tugging me toward the balcony, her excitement bubbling over. "We can't stay in the corner forever." And then I saw him. He stood by the balcony door, tall, dark hair slightly disheveled, a glass of red wine dangling from his fingers like he didn't care if it fell. His eyes scanned the room as though he was bored of everyone in it, until they landed on us. "Daniel," he said, offering his hand like he'd been waiting for this moment all night. "And you are." I almost laughed. "You are," as if we weren't two names in one body. "Claire," she said brightly, shaking his hand with a confidence I'd never quite mastered. "And this is Evelyn." He didn't flinch. Not at the way we stood, not at the awkward geometry of our shared stance. Most people tried not to stare. He looked right at us, like we were a challenge he wanted to solve. "Nice to meet you both," he said, and for a moment I thought it was just manners. But the way his eyes lingered on her, on us, I knew this wasn't going to be simple. Verse Barks. Daniel found us again before the night was over. He was charming, the kind of man who always had a story ready, who remembered your name even in a crowded room. Claire leaned in, laughing at every dry remark he made. I kept my smile polite, but something in my stomach tightened. We left the party with his number in Claire's phone, not ours, hers. That was the first crack. The text started the next morning. Little things. A meme, a good morning, a photo of the coffee he was drinking. Claire's smile changed. She stayed up later, turning our shared nightlight away from me so the screen's glow wouldn't bother my eyes. I didn't say anything at first. I told myself she deserved this, deserved someone who saw her, who wanted her. But each ping of her phone felt like a needle threading me out of the picture. A private world I couldn't escape. Weeks passed. Daniel became a constant presence in our conversations, in our days. When he invited her to dinner, I went too, of course. How could I not? Our lives were not built for separate dates. I watched their hands graze on the table, watched him whisper something that made her cheeks flush. Later that night, in the darkness of our room, I asked, "Do you really think this can work?" She turned her head toward me, her face soft in the glow of the street lamp outside. "Why not? He's kind, he listens." "To you," I said quietly. She frowned. "You don't have to like him, but I do." And that was that. The rooftop night. The breaking point came on a rainy Thursday. Daniel had invited her to a rooftop bar downtown. She didn't tell me until she was already putting on lipstick. "You didn't even ask," I said. "Do I need your permission to have a life?" The words stung more than I expected. They left. I stayed. Hours crawled by. When the door finally opened, she was glowing, her hair damp from the rain, her hand brushing the spot on her neck where his lips had lingered. I didn't ask what happened. I didn't need to. That night, we didn't speak. For the first time in our lives, we turned our faces away from each other in the same bed, and the silence was louder than any scream. Sabotage. I began to sabotage their romance in ways I could almost justify. I canceled plans by pretending to feel ill. I answered his texts with cold politeness when she left the phone unattended. I made myself a shadow between them, hoping he'd grow tired of the inconvenience. And yet Daniel persisted. One evening, he came to our apartment with takeout, and that same calm expression that I had started to hate. "I care about Claire," he said, looking directly at me, not her. "But I can't do this if you keep trying to destroy it." "Destroy it," my voice cracked. "You destroyed us. There is no me without her, but you want her without me." He didn't argue. He just left the food on the counter and walked out. Claire didn't speak to me for days. Fracture. Love isn't always loud. Sometimes it breaks you in silence. We still worked together, still shared meals, still moved in sync out of habit, but something vital was gone. I missed her laughter more than I hated him. The other woman. And then one evening her phone buzzed. A name I didn't recognize, a message from a woman I didn't know. "So when are you telling her?" Claire confronted Daniel the next day. He admitted everything. There had been someone else the whole time, someone easier, someone less complicated. She came home shaking, her mascara streaked down her cheeks. For a moment neither of us spoke. Then she whispered, "I was so stupid." I wrapped our arms around her. "No," I said softly. "You just wanted to believe someone could handle us." Reckoning. We stayed up that night, the first real conversation in weeks. We talked about love and loneliness and the cruel math of desire. We talked about how we envied each other in different ways, her courage, my caution. By dawn, the city was gray and still. We made a quiet vow to stop waiting for someone who could love half of us while pretending the other half didn't exist. If love came again, it had to love all of us, or it wasn't love at all. Epilogue: Two Hearts, One Life. It's been a year since Daniel left. We still get curious stares. We still hear the whispers, but we walk side by side because that's the only way we can. Sometimes I think about the kiss I felt but never had, the life we almost gave away for someone who couldn't hold both our hands at once. And sometimes in the quietest moments, Claire looks at me and smiles. "We survived," she says. "Yes, we did. Together."